Hello, hello, hello. Hello, and welcome to another Friday edition of Spindle TV. How are you all doing this evening? Good to see everybody in the crowd, in the chats and everything. My name is Laney Shaughnessy, for those of you that are new, and I will be your host this evening. I hope you're doing well. We're doing well over here, for sure. Let me see here if I can get things started. I believe I can. All right. So, hopefully y'all are doing well. How's everyone doing this evening? Doing well. I have not had the best of luck tonight. I got to go to my eye doctor tomorrow and get things fixed. So I wear prescription glasses, and my glasses broke, and I epoxied them to get them fixed, and then they broke a second time. So I epoxied them again. And they broke a third time, right? So I had my glasses, and I'm like, man, I gotta go get those fixed. My eye doctor said I can't see it till February. I'm like, okay. So I put on my spare glasses. I'll be darned if I didn't break the handles off those. So if y'all are wondering about my cool glasses with my string that's wrapped around my head, holding those on, if y'all kind of wonder what in the world what that looks like or what I'm wearing, that's my my backup eyeglasses. And the arms broke off. I haven't had the best luck at all. So old Lens Crafters is gonna bail me out tomorrow at 2:00. They're gonna give me another eye exam and get me some new glasses. Got to pay them, of course, but they're gonna be able to see me tomorrow when my regular eye doctor couldn't see me till February. So anyway, ingenuity, technology. All right. So tonight we are going to make some signs for the holidays. We're going to make some signs, and I want to show you. You've probably seen on the channel, on Facebook, on YouTube, and things like that, an advertisement where I put out where I have some projects available for digital download and things like that. And we'll briefly touch on that, but we're going to make a couple of signs tonight. We're going to go through the process, and we're going to do a couple of things. We're going to do a sign that, would, if you have a Spire that, would be, straightforward to make. If you have VCarve Pro or desktop, there would be some compromises or some workarounds and stuff, but then we're going to make something that everybody can make with no problems at all. And with that being said, let's go ahead and jump right on into it so we can get through today very well. Before we do, let me just say this. This coming Friday, which is, I believe, the 19th, yes. This coming Friday, the 19th, will be the last live Spindle TV class for the year, for 2025. So we'll have tonight, and then we'll have next Friday at 8:00, the 19th. And then classes will resume again on the 9th of January. But from the 19th to the 9th, I will be closed. That's my time of the year to kind of just get away from everything and everyone and decompress and get ready for the new year and all that stuff. So that's going to be my number one announcement. Let's see here. Let's see. Brooks Martin asked the question, Laney, any thoughts on Easy Create? Yeah, I think it's freaking awesome. I think it's a game changer. You know, right now, you know, there are steps that one can go through utilizing AI, a variety of things that they can do, and Sculpt OK. If any of you follow along with what the guys and girls over at Vetric are doing, Becky had put out a video, you know, not too long ago where she showed how to make 3D models with AI, and in that video, she provided, if you focused your attention on what she was saying and on what was on her screen, she provided an amazing prompt to make 3D models, to provide or feed, you know, to AI like ChatGPT or something that provided you with an image result that you could take over to a program called Sculpt OK and produce amazing 3D models, just, you know, very easily and everything. And well, that video that she put out got such a great response and everything. They decided to go ahead and release their version based off of that, called Easy Create. And it is a game changer for individuals that do not have Aspire and may have desktop or pro and everything and want to create 3D models or be able to create 3D models, you know, just as easy as those individuals with Aspire. Going through, you know, ChatGPT and Sculpt OK is super simple and straightforward, but now with Easy Create, one could do the same thing. I have not personally worked with it or anything like that, but I have absolutely religiously used Becky's tutorial that she did in her video with Sculpt OK, and I have a membership with Sculpt OK now, and I have produced a lot of models, some of which you're going to see tonight. So yeah, Brooks, I think it's absolutely outstanding and everything. So it's an absolute game changer, and I think it would be for anyone that you know, that wants to you know, create models. All right, with that being said, let's go over and share my screen. And on the screen that I'm sharing, you are going to see the makings of a model from Sculpt OK and everything. And this will be the first project that we're going to be working with. Now, with that being said, let's see here. We can come over here and just give you a quick run through. Let's see. All right, so the Christmas pack that I put out, $175 Christmas pack that I put out the other day for sale, had it discounted and still discounted for $35 for a download. It includes projects such as model projects like the Rudolph welcome sign that you see here, as well as projects like the wreath welcome sign, the Santa Claus welcome sign, the Merry Christmas with or without a frame, you know, away in a manger, I'm not a little elf. It's all fun and games till Santa checks the naughty list. I'm definitely on it, and things. And with Rudolph and everything, we even did. Let's see here. Let's open up another Aspire really quickly. And let's take a look at, open an existing project, go to downloads, Frosty the Snowman. just did Frosty the other night in last night's class. And if you want to learn how to make these, I taught the class, a step-by-step class on, making these models and everything in our BuildItTV exclusive members class, where you could join to be an exclusive member, $9.99 a month to become a silver member, $19.99 a month to become a gold member. And in those private Thursday night classes with members, we teach projects such as, how to create these cool, amazing signs and things and these models and stuff, utilizing things like ChatGPT, AI, Sculpt, OK, and all that wonderful stuff. So this is the sign that we made in class last night. What a jolly happy soul homeboy is right there, so Frosty the Snowman, and cool stuff. Well, tonight we're going to, and if you do want to ever join the BuildItTV exclusive members club, the join button is right on our YouTube channel, main channel. Cool. All right. And all that does is it helps me afford to send my kids to college. It pays me for my time. If you feel like you ever get any value out of this, we have super chats that help me buy Christmas presents down that we encourage you to participate in the chats. And also you can join to become a member. All right. So with that being said, let's go ahead and let's get this party started. Okay. So tonight I have this image or this 3D model here of old baby Jesus, Mother Mary and Joseph lovingly looking over baby Jesus in the manger. And this image started out, let's see here if I can pull up. This image started out with quite a few iterations and everything. So we started out with making an illustration. And the illustration, the first result of the illustration resulted in this image. And it didn't like the way old baby Jesus was looking and everything. His little hunker was sticking out a little bit too much for me. And but as I was describing very simply to create an illustration, a book style illustration of baby Jesus laying in a manger with Mother Mary and Father Joseph lovingly looking over him. This was the first image that that was created. Well, that led into the next image, which was a little bit like this. I had a little angel in there, so we were getting a little bit closer with our prompt, changing the wording ever so much, and trying to get it to kind of look good. And then ultimately finally we came out with the final image, which was this image here. And then that image taken over to create a three-dimensional model off of and everything. We end up with the model here, and we can bring down some of the details. I've got the details blown up a little bit, but we can bring them down, or we can increase them. We can do whatever we want in that 3D view now. And what I want to do tonight is, one, I want to finish this off. We're going to make a nice little framed picture and everything with this. This is just the rough start. This is very much the rough start here. So there's nothing but the image. And we're going to finish it off. And then we're going to make some cool V-carve stuff to, go along with that for our holiday signs and stuff. Now, as we get into this, we're going to rock through this one really quickly, and then we're going to make a nice little Christmas dish, Christmas bowl. It's not going to be, I don't think it's going to be any kind of shape like a Christmas tree or something goofy or like that. We'll just make a nice decorative bowl. We'll see what we can come up with, and then we'll make a nice, elegant sign. And hopefully, in one of these projects tonight, you'll learn something. You'll take something away and put it to use in your projects, and you'll go, thank you, Lenny. I learned something from you. All right, here we go. So what I want to do is in the 2D view of this image and everything, the first thing I want to do is I want to kind of create a rectangle. So I'm going to go over to the rectangle tool, and I'm going to just simply use my mouse and manually draw a rectangle from one corner to its diagonal. And then I'm going to offset that that rectangle. I was about to say triangle for some reason. But that rectangle, I'm going to offset it inward, and I'm going to create a frame. I think that I'm going to go with a frame that's about 1 3/8 inches wide, 1.375. I want sharp corners on this inward offset, and I want to select the new, make sure that's selected. And that's going to create the second rail for my frame that I'm about to design. And then what I also want to do is I also want to create a middle line, a center line. So I want to take that 1 3/8 and I want to divide that by 2 right inside the calculation edit box. That's what those little boxes that you type values in are referred to. I can do math, add, subtract, multiply, divide, fraction to decimal conversion, all that fun stuff. We just type in our number and do whatever we want. And in my case, it was 1 3/8. That's how wide my frame is. The little divide sign, the number 2, and then the equal key to create that. Now, I do want sharp corners on that one as well, and I want to offset that in. And let's try to only select one vector when I do that. There we go. And that's going to give me a center line. Now, with that center line, I'm now going to go into the free clip art from Vectric, and I'm going to go into the molding profiles, and I'm going to pick a molding profile, which will be that bad boy right there. Now, right now, this molding profile, this is the thing that you have to understand about, profiles and sweeps and things like that, is it currently does not have a leg coming down this backside. When I say a leg, meaning a leg telling the software how tall, this component is, that back leg, saying, hey, this is the position of it and this is how tall it is and all that. Right now, that leg doesn't exist. And so when the software, if I were to create a piece of molding with it, the software is going to treat this little guy like a leg. And let's say that I rotate this, and it's going to lay out the profile to be like this. It'll think that these two end pieces are the leg, and it's going to create a profile that looks something like that versus something that looks like that, right? So, and I'm okay with that. That result that I get, it actually results into a pretty neat looking frame when that happens and everything. But I do want to have a little bit of height to it, because right now, if I were to, let's take a guideline down and just snap a guideline to the bottom here, it only thinks that, my frame is this thick. There's no height to it at all whatsoever. So if I drew two additional legs coming down, then I'm giving it height. If I drew a little straight line leg straight down here, and on this end straight down here, then I'm giving it height. I'm giving it some kind of depth and everything to it. Right now, the software would interpret it as this depth if I just tried to sweep it as it is. So knowing that, and now you know that just as well because I just told you, but now knowing that, I am going to make my own little profile, and I'm going to rotate this just a little bit differently. I'm actually going to rotate it just a little bit like this. And let's get that guideline out of the way here. And I'm going to come in here and my material, let's take a quick look at my material setup and what we got here. I have on this particular sign right here, I have it as 24 by 16. And as you're looking at Joseph, Mary, and Baby Jesus, you can see that they are absolutely not as wide as 24 inches. You can see my white board is much wider than that, right? And what I'm thinking is that I will end up probably moving this to one side or something, or I could just go ahead and reduce my width. Either one. If I reduce my width, then I'll need to reduce my rectangles and offsets and all that wonderful jazz. But let's see, what is my model at? It is roughly about 17 1/8 inches wide. So I could come in and do that. What I was thinking was I might come in here, move this off to the side, and have something where I can put some text or something nice or something over here. But let's start off simple first. Let's center it, change our board size, our job setup size. Let's go 17.125 on our width. I'm going to keep it at 16 for now, and 1.5 inches thick. That's important to know. And I want you to notice I'm working with a maximum resolution here. We can also work with any of our resolutions, but I'm working with a maximum resolution so I get the best detail out of this model. So I'm going to go ahead and click OK there. And then I'm going to recenter my model. And then I'm going to take my rectangle here. I'm just going to simply delete it. And I'm going to recreate it. Now, first off, I'm working down in the bottom left-hand corner of this job. And what I'm going to do up here is, so I don't have to, I can just draw corner to corner again, no problem. Very easy. But I want to show you how to use your tools. So up here, the anchor of the rectangle, I'm going to have it set to center. And on my X, since the bottom left corner is my 0, I'm going to take the letter X and divide it by 2 and hit equals. And that's going to give me the center of my job on X. And I'm going to take my Y and divide that by 2 and hit equals, typing in the letter Y divided by 2. And that's going to give me my Y division here. And then down here, I do want square corners, and I'm going to take my X here, and I'm going to minus on my frame and everything. I'm not going to minus anything. I'm going to, if I was going to do a border, then I could minus by how far I want that border inset. Well, I actually want this to be the same size as my box. So I'm going to type in the letter X and just hit the equal key. And over here, I'm going to type in the letter Y and hit the equal key. And I'm going to click create. And that's going to create my rectangle centered on my board to the size of my material project. Now I'm going to come back in really quickly and make my center line, that 1.375 divided by 2. Let's select the vector. And then I'm going to select that vector again and make my 1 3/8 line as well, 1.375. Now, I actually don't use the 1.375 line, but it's there for visual purposes. And let me turn off Mary and Joseph for a minute so we can see our vectors here. And let's go back and let's get our profile vector on the screen so we can see it as well a little clearer. All right. And like I said, I want to, let's take this, in a kind of an upright position. this is that molding profile. Well, slightly skewed, right? This is that molding profile. And I'm going to tilt it a little bit. Tilt it probably about like that. And I want kind of that angle. I'm going to go with that angle. And so in my rectangle tool here, I'm going to draw a rectangle that is 1 3/8 inches wide. That's how wide my frame's going to be. And my board currently right now is 1.5 inches, right? That's the thickness of my material, 1.5. So I'm going to create that rectangle right here. And I'm going to take my little profile and I'm going to drag it up to the corner, not all the way to this corner, just on this line. And I'm actually going to scale it slightly so it fits over to this side. But before I do, if I single click on this middle square right here, one single click right there, I'll get a little round pivot point. And I can drag that pivot point anywhere that I would like to. In this case, I want to drag it right over here to the top here, so that when I rotate this, I'm now pivoting off that pivot point. And what I want to do is I'm going to actually pivot this up a little bit more of an angle right here. And then I'm going to scale it up. And it's going to be okay if I go past the line, because I'm going to use my scissors in just a minute and do some trimming. But on here, there's two changes that I want to make. In node editing, I want this line right here to go straight across, not at an angle. So I want to select this node right here, or this node, it doesn't matter, whichever one I select, either one. I'll do this one. But make sure that you always pay attention when you select a node, because the anchor that's attached to that node also got selected as well. So I want to hold down the shift key and turn off that anchor. Click on it. And then this node's going to be first. I'm going to select on this node last, and I'm going to hit the letter Y. Up and down is the Y axis. Left to right is the X. I'm going to hit the letter Y, and it's going to pull that line straight. Okay. And then on the other side here, this here, I'm going to actually drag this. Excuse me, had to itch my eye there for a second. I'm going to select this line right here, or this node, not line, that node right there. Hold down the shift key and select that node, and I'm going to hit the letter Y, pull that down straight. And I'm actually going to just pull this out. That's a fib. I just want this node, not both of them. I had both of them selected. I just want this one. I'm going to pull this out. Not worried that I'm overhanging here, because again, I'm going to be trimming that off. Now, I want this lip right here to be a little bit wider, so I'm actually going to select this node again. It is going to select that anchor, and I'm good with that, because now I'm going to use the arrow key on my keyboard, my right arrow key, and I'm going to move that over to the right and widen that up a bit. Okay, knowing that I have both of these anchors selected, so when I'm widening this up, it's going to, it's moving this whole thing. And let me show you to the left, zoomed out, and to the right, right? So I'm bringing this out, not down. Control Z is your best friend. Bringing this in, knowing that I'm changing this curve slightly, and I'm good with that. I don't need a dramatic curve right here. I'm going to keep this one the same, but I want this to be wider right here. Now I'm going to take my scissors and trim this upper part away. And I'm going to take my scissors and trim that away. And then I'm going to go into node editing. And I'm going to come down here, and we always, when we're making a molding or frame, we never really use the bottom line. So we want an open vector. So we're going to remove or delete that span. So that is going to be my new molding profile shape right there. Okay. And that shape is what's going to get spanned across here, and I'm actually going to use the center line to do it. Now, in this situation, you could use, if you have Desktop and Pro, you can use the molding toolpath to create a molding if you're creating that in that sense. If you don't have the ability to make the model. And in all, I am going to be using a single rail sweep tool. That center line is going to be my drive rail. And notice that the arrows, if you look very carefully, the small little arrows are pointing from right to left. They're going around. And when I select my profile is going to reverse itself as well. And the outside of the profile here is going to become the inside of the profile. Now, if I reversed my rails to where my drive rail was going from right to left, then my molding would go from right, or from left to right, normal and all that. And I want it actually reversed. I want this to be the inside, and I want the profile to go down to the outside this way. So I'm happy with that. So I want sharp corners. And I'm going to click merge. I want this to merge with the other models that it's going to be created with. And then I'm going to click apply. Okay. Now, if we go look at the 3D model that we just created, the frame that we just created, let's go kind of look at a corner here. That is that ledge that I extended, coming into that shallow curve, to that dramatic curve, and then stepping down to that small lip to the outside of the board, right? So to the outside of the board. And so that is the frame that I've just created. Okay, cool beans. All right, now that frame is merging. So when I turn on my other component, which is Mary and Joseph and all, the model for Mary and Joseph is going to merge with that frame. And there are some parts of this image that I want to get rid of. And I'm going to show you how to get rid of a background using clipping. If you have Desktop and Pro, how to get rid of a background using the clipping tool in your level, in your component tree. And then I'm going to show you how to do it by just doing a complete deletion and everything. And so what I want to do, let's go ahead and turn off the model first. And let's go into the 2D view. And let's take my vectors here so that I can have them out of the way while we do this. We're going to take these 4 vectors, the profile you can barely see, and those 3 molding profiles. We're going to right click on the screen and we're going to move them to a new layer. And I'm just going to call this my frame vectors. And I'm going to turn off the visibility and not make it active and click OK just to get rid of those for a moment. Now in here, I want to create some vectors that will allow me to remove some excess material that I want. And on this model, I mean, there's absolutely nothing wrong with the background and all that stuff. These are posts that go up to a pillar, to an archway, and blah, blah, blah. But I don't want them. I want to kind of actually remove that and everything. So what I'm going to do is, in the 2D view, I'm going to go over to the bitmap trace tool. I'm going to convert to a black and white. And then I'm going to slide my slide bar all the way to 0 till it's all white. And if you have a roller wheel on your mouse, it's easy enough to put your mouse over the mouse and roll that wheel and start ticking in, and as you start ticking in, you will start to see the detail, start to come out and everything. to get, you know, your vector outlines and all of that wonderful stuff. And what I'm aiming for is that I have my outlines here coming around, and that's it. So with that, I can go ahead and I'll stay there, and then we'll back it off a little bit too. I'll draw a couple of lines, but I'm going to use a default corner fit, kind of stay a little bit close on this. I'm going to use a noise filter. I'm going to turn that up to about a 4, and we'll turn that fading off so you can see that. And I'm going to go ahead and hit preview. I'm going to click apply and close, and that's going to draw these vector lines. Well, if we look very closely, let's see here. Let me click off of the model so it's kind of grayed out a little bit. But if we look very closely, you know, I've come in just slightly on the hair and the head and everything. So I went a little too far with my drawing. I need to come out just a little bit more. So I'm going to hit Control Z to undo that. And I'm going to go back to that image. And I'm going to back off. So I'm at 15 now. Let's go 14. 13. I'm not worried about this pillar coming in. I know how to do node editing and everything, and you're going to know how in just a minute as well too. Let's go to about here. Let's preview that. Apply and close. And now I'm right on the edge of the model, and I'm going to be happy with that and everything. All right, so that will be the vector that I use. And now I've got to do a little bit of cleaning up to remove this. So here we go, node editing. I'm going to go into node editing. I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to cut the vector. The keyboard shortcut is C. If you hover your mouse over a node and hit the letter C on the keyboard, you can cut the vector there, or you can right click and just click on cut the vector. So I want to cut here and over here. I actually want to delete that vector, so I'm going to hit delete and get rid of it. And back here on this, where I've cut this, I can now join these two vectors. And let me make one more cut really quickly. I'll cut the vector right there. And I'm going to get rid of, hit the delete key to get rid of that. So I'm only keeping this line right here. I'll extend it in just a minute to finish it off. You'll see that in just a second. But right here, this line comes up and around and over to this other side. So I am going to be deleting this line. So I might as well travel all the way over here. And I'm just going to, for right now, cut it right there just for a moment. This way I can come in and select that and hit delete to get rid of that extra line. And now over here, I'm going to take these two lines and I'm going to just use a tool called Join with a Smooth Curve. And it does a decent job, but it's a little high and it's hard to see the difference in the color. I don't know how well that shows up on the screen, but the difference in the shade. The shoulder is actually kind of right here. So I'm going to pull this line down and I'm going to kind of come in and pull this back a little bit. And I'm going to come right in about here. That's good. Now this line's going to come in around on the hairline, and I'm okay with that and everything. But right here, I can't have it separated there. So I'm going to go into node editing and cut the vector here. And I'm going to come down right here. And I'm going to pick a spot somewhere in here. And I'm going to cut the vector there. Now that vector comes around over to here. I'm going to cut it right there. And that way I can delete this now. Get rid of that. And I've cut this, but I need to come down here and cut it right there. So now I can get rid of this line. Okay, so I don't need that. Now, on Joseph's hair, he's got a cool little hairstyle going on here, and it's actually out here is the model where his hair is not coming up his forehead. There's actually hair. If we look at the 3D model, his hair actually comes out here and around, not up here where the line currently is. And so I can see that that distinction. It's hard to see. This is a really dark, solid color here, and then there's a light void right here. And that void right in here is the hairline. So I am going to follow the hairline. It's going to come right down. It's going to intersect right in this general area. So I'm going to go into node editing, and I'm going to cut right here. And I'm going to delete that little segment. And I'm decent with a freehand drawing tool, that freehand drawing tool that's available. And so I'm going to hold down the control key, and I'm going to put my mouse right on the end of the line. And I'm going to come in around, and I'm going to follow that light gray area. And then I'm going to connect here. Okay. So that's going to be that line, and by holding the control key, it connected those two ends together. Now in here, I don't need any of these vectors inside there, so select them and hit the delete key on the keyboard. All I'm going for is this outline that's going to be here. And this outline is going to come across, and all this stuff in the background in the 3D view is all of that stuff right there. And I kind of want to come down and then right back up. I really want to get rid of this, but if I went right straight across here, that's fine too. I don't have to get rid of everything, but I want to try to get rid of this right down her shoulder, right to here. I want to get rid of this background. That's what I'm trying to do. And even if I had desktop and pro or Aspire, I still have to do the same thing. Everything I'm doing here, I'd have to do if I was doing clipping for desktop and pro, or if I'm doing the delete function for Aspire. Same steps. I still got to draw the line, so follow along with me. And all of this crazy stuff right in here, we're not going to pay attention to it because my line needs to come down, across and over, kind of over the baby Jesus' hand, and then up here. So all of this stuff is going to go away in just a second after we go into node editing, and we come in here and hit the if I hover over the mouse, I could hit the letter C to cut that vector, or right click and choose cut vector, right? Either one. So keyboard shortcut or whatever it is you want to do. And I'm going to come down here because I need that line to connect to this one. So I got to cut the vector there. This is going to come down. Now that little guy right there gets deleted. All this little miscellaneous stuff, all of this stuff here, all of this stuff gets deleted. Right? None of those are going to be, in use anymore. And if we look once again in the 3D view where we actually see the model, we can see that we don't come down, baby Jesus' face and over to its hand that I was pointing at a moment ago, because really we come down to this point right here, and then we come up Mother Mary's arm right up here, and then into her hood, because that's her arm right there, right? So in here, let me get rid of this out of the way, and it'll be a little bit more obvious where I need to go. But this is trash, delete. This is trash. I just cut it free from there, delete. And then in here, this is going to come down, and then it's going to literally start coming up right in here. And I'm fine that it's there. So these nodes, if I select them, I can hit D on the keyboard to get rid of them, because I'm going up. And there's a little bit of a draping right here. So I'm literally following this, but I don't need this big old funky thing right here. So I can select all of these nodes right to there and hit D on the keyboard to delete. Come up here. We're going to cut the vector right there. And then I'm actually going to take it and cut it. Where do I want to take and cut it? Actually, that's a lie. Control Z to undo that cut. I don't want to cut it there. I'll end up smoothing that off a little bit, and pulling it in a little bit more subtler. I'm going to cut off her little sharp point right there. That's fine. But this actually goes up exactly where I need it to go. Let me see in the 3D view. It's wanting to, when it comes up, this point right here is what I just doled off. You know, it was kind of catching something here. But when it comes up, it's trying to come back down in this area. And I just needed to continue straight up here. So this little downward jaunt right here, I don't need it. So let's select those nodes and hit D for delete. And it didn't delete that one, so delete that point as well. And I'll pull this over. And I'll be happy with that. Again, the stuff inside, delete. All of this gets deleted. Get all the miscellaneous crap out of your way so it's not like confusing you. It looks overwhelming when there's a bunch of, crud and everything going on here and all that stuff. But, delete that stuff out. And, if it's not attached to anything, all of this stuff down here, get it all out of your way, because it takes away your attention from what you're focusing on. Now it doesn't look as complicated. My line has become somewhat more simpler. There's not a whole bunch of stuff in the way. Now I am going to keep this line right here. Just for reference, I'm going to end up drawing a new line with the freehand tool, following her back, and everything. But I'm going to keep that for reference right now, because before I move on from point A to B, I'm going to select these 2 points and I'm going to join them with a smooth curve, clicking that button to connect here. That's going to come down, and then I'm going to hold down the shift key and select this, join with a smooth curve. That's going to come around, and that one actually did a really good job of coming around there. Maybe slightly, you just come in ever so slightly there. That did a good job. I'm happy with that. And coming around, now I'm going to go ahead and cut the vector actually back here. Cut it. I don't want all that, and I don't want all of this. So now all of that can get deleted. That's trash. This is trash. This is what I said I'm keeping for reference, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to use the freehand tool, and once again, hold the control key down. What that control key does is, with the control key held down, when I move the mouse over this line, it will connect to it. So it'll start when I hold down my left mouse button, when I connect to that point, I'll be connected there, right? If I don't, then I'm just kind of freehand and just floating, so control key, snap right there. Now, when I hold down my left mouse button, I am drawing, right? That kind of thing. So let me hit undo, because that's not what I wanted. All right, here we go. So let's pull out so I can see the whole shoulder. Click and hold, and now I'm just going to kind of follow. And I'm actually, following this line. That's what these references are going to just kind of help me with. And even if I'm not perfect, that's what node editing is for. So I just literally drew that out and came past here. We'll talk about that in just a minute. But at that point now, I can go ahead and get rid of my references, delete, and I can come in here and look at what I need to adjust on the node editing. So on node editing, I came in a little heavy here. So I just need to pull this node out a little bit. Oh, not like that. Just need to pull this node out a little bit. And it's hard to see. If I click on Mary, it kind of darkens it up, and it makes it a little too dark to see that way as well too. But if I zoom out, you can see, and I'm just going down that, it's not a hemline, but I'll just call it a hemline. I'm just going right down the back of that, sleeve or what have you. And I'm literally coming right out here. Okay. So I'm content with that path right there all the way around. I'm happy with that. So now what I'm going to do is take my straight line tool. Well, first of all, that's a lie. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go into node editing. And I'm actually going to take this node and just follow the path right out here. the path of, his shoulder. Now I'm going to take my straight line tool. I'm going to click and connect to the end of that line there. I'm going to come out. I don't care where I am, as long as I'm not inside here, because I'm going to be deleting all this. So I don't care where I'm at. I'm going to click, pull this over, click, pull this over, and snap it to the end there, and click spacebar to finish. And I'm going to take and hold down the shift key to join that vector with this over in the join tool. And that holding the shift key didn't join, but it allowed me to click both of those items. So then I could go to the join tool and take both of those and make it a closed vector. So now that I have a closed vector, I can select my model. I can select my model. I can come in here and select that vector, and I can use a tool that says clear everything inside the vector away. First of all, I got to select the component. It would help if I selected the component too. I can use a tool to clear everything inside that vector away, and it would remove all of that, right? It would remove all of that, getting rid of all that. Now, that's using Aspire and the removal tool. Now let's look at it if I was clipping. Okay, if I had Desktop or Pro and I wanted to get rid of that background, what do I need to do? Let's take a look at that really quickly. Let's go to Edit, Undo, put that back, because when it comes to clipping, I have to create a vector around everything I want to keep, not what I want to get rid of. So instead of drawing the line up around here and connecting with what I wanted to get rid of, I need to come in, and I'm going to keep that line, but I'm going to come in here and cut the vector right here. And I'm going to come over here and cut the vector here. Okay. And what I want to keep, now mind you, let me turn on the frame for a second. Remember now, is a frame in this project, right? And that frame is coming right across here, right across the blanket and everything, because my 1 3/8 inch flame, which is technically right about here, right? So I'm going to use this straight line right here where it turns from the model to this gray solid bar there. That's the line I'm going to reference. So I'm going to come in here and I'll draw a line, click here, come straight across, click there. Now I'm going to come up 90 degrees. If I'm doing this and I want to keep it, I'm just going to keep it 90 degrees, right? So 90 degrees, I'm going to come up straight up here, just click somewhere, and I passed my other line, and that's fine because I have scissors to trim with, right? And then I'll take this end right here, come up, click 90 degrees straight up, click and spacebar to finish that line. Now, and what I'm going to do really quickly is I'm going to take my line that I drew and I'm going to move that out of the way just for a second because I do want to use that in just a moment. But here, I take my scissors, I trim connecting these two here. I trim connecting there. Now I have a vector that's closed that outlines this way, and everything I want to keep is inside that vector, okay? It's what I want to keep inside that vector. So if in my component tree, and I'll do this on a separate component, insert a new level, and a separate level, not a separate component, a new level, and I'll drag my model into that level. And on that level, if I right-click, as long as I got the vector selected, I can come in here and on clipping, I can apply that. Now, with clipping, it keeps everything that's inside the vector and it gets rid of everything else. But in the 2D view, You won't be able to tell. Nothing happens. Nothing happens in the 2D view. My model, I can still see that background. But in the 3D view, where it counts, that area is gone. Now let me turn off the frame for a second. That area has been clipped away. Okay? So everything outside of the vector goes bye-bye in the 3D view. Everything inside the vector stays when you're using clipping. And now I've clipped away that background. Even though it's still there in the 2D view, it's not there. It's not calculated in the toolpath or anything. Vectric ignores it. You know, your VCarve Desktop and Pro and Aspire ignores clipping and all that wonderful stuff. And it's only going to carve on the model that's visible. Okay? Cool beans. All right. So now on my frame right being added, the two parts are being added together. They're not being merged together because my level, let's zoom out here, or not zoom out, but let's look up here in the top corner. My levels are not, they're adding to each other. They're not merging with one another. Now, technically, I always work from the, the base up. So on level 2, I'm actually going to move level 2 down below level 1. I want my, baby Jesus, Mother Mary, Joseph, they are the bottom, and the frame's going to be on top of that. But I need this level to merge with the level below it, right? To merge with the level below it. And so now it will be merged. Okay. Now, I could add a zero plane to this. Let's see here. Model, insert a zero plane, and on that zero plane, I could fill in that back area there. And I could even give that zero plane some height. I could come in here right now, it has 0 height. I could give it some height, the zero plane. And on that, let's say that I want to give it a base height of 1/4 of an inch. Oh, too many decimal points. Hold on now. 0.25, it didn't like that. And that will, raise up and everything. I could, whatever I want to do, to kind of bring that up. And I'll, if I want to, come in and, give that some height. Now, the models always look weird when you turn them from the side and everything because of the way they're three-dimensional and all that stuff. So they look a little goofy from the edges, but from the front. So now I have a smooth background in that background area and everything. I could even give, you can see on my 1.5-inch board how, how tall that is. I actually am going to reduce the frame height rather than increase the model height on Mary Joseph. So if I come in here and click on the frame in the 3D view, let me see if I can make this to where everybody can see what happens here. In the 3D view, I can hover my mouse over this area here and I can pull this. Now notice when I pull this, the plane is also moving as well with that frame, and that's the one thing I don't want. So I'm actually going to take right now and move it into level 2. And that's a lie. 2 has clipping applied. So as soon as I dropped it into level 2, it got rid of everything that's outside of the vector. So we're going to insert a new level. And we'll put it at the bottom. And we'll move the zero plane into that level. And we'll make sure that the combine mode is merging with that zero plane and everything. Now connect with the when I select the frame, when I move the frame height and all, I'm not moving the 0, right? So now if I come out here and I start low, I wanted this to be down a little bit lower profile, you can start to see Mary's back shoulder here, and I would need to remove, more material using the clipping tool. I would need to readjust the clipping to clip a little bit more material off of her so that her sleeve and his sleeve aren't coming out of the frame, right? When the frame was taller, that wasn't an issue, right? Because I had that. I'm going crazy. Hold on a minute. Let's turn that back around. I had that meat right there, that frame wood right there. And when I reduce the height of that frame wood, right, now her garment, are coming through. And if that was the case and everything, then all I would do if I'm doing clipping, and I would bring that vector in a little further, that straight line up and down, I'd bring it in instead of it being, let me click on it so you can see it in pink. Instead of it being out here, I would just move it in and it would clip away that excess stuff on the sides. I don't need to clip it anymore on the bottom. I'm not quite sure how to help you. Alexa, stop. So I'm good with not clipping anymore and all. But if my frame was, 2 excess higher than my model and I wanted to bring it down some more, so I'm just, maybe I can use a smaller piece of wood. Maybe I can use let me get this back. Come on now. Woo, don't get dizzy. Maybe I can, I don't need a full 1.5 inches or something and everything, but I can start to frame this a little bit better. So I'll keep the clipping. I won't get rid of the excess, so I won't really need that vector anymore, the one that was deleting it. I'll keep that as is and all that stuff. One of the advantages, now I will just say this. Now, let's be real here. Is everybody's audio coming in and out? Let me see here. Testing 1, 2. Is the audio coming in and out when things are rendering? Please. All right, let's turn down the resolution. And we'll see. Let me look at my audio levels. Give me a second. Testing 1, 2. Oh, I know why my audio is blowing up. Because literally it was blowing up. My master volume was spiked out. Testing 1, 2. Testing 1, 2. Give me a second. Audio check. Who do you think you are? Ha ha ha, bless your soul. All right, that sounds better. Okay. Hopefully. Throw a little singing at you. All right. And we'll get the audio tuned. My audio was spiking. That's why it was going in and out. It was spiking. We should be a little bit more clearer now. And we shouldn't go in and out now. So let's hit save. That was a good call on the save part. Okay. All right, let that save. Yeah, we should have sound better now. Thanks for calling that out. Thanks for calling that out. Okay, so we should sound a little bit better. Also, we should sound better, but also at the same time, we should not chop out now because I've turned down my audio. But one thing I do need to fix really quickly is I want to brighten up my background. Okay. All right. Now, where was I? Oh, one of the advantages, now let's be real, is what I was saying, and everything is one of the advantages of the Aspire software is we do have some additional modeling tools that we can work with in things like being able to add a draft to a model, to do some sculpting and smoothing and things like that as well. And those are things that, you know, while VCarve Desktop and VCarve Pro does have a smoothing tool that applies a smoothing filter across everything, it doesn't allow me to pinpoint or sculpt a model like the Aspire tools do, right? And so when, you know, the model gets clipped, when this model gets clipped here, if we look carefully and everything, there's some edging here where the background was removed, that it would be, you know, it's nice to be able to come in and smooth off that edge and then maybe add a little bit of a draft so the walls aren't so straight and chopped off and things like that. And so, you know, just again, there's a little bit of give and take with everything, right? So that's what it is. So here we are doing clipping as if it were, you know, Desktop or Pro and everything. But with that, I wouldn't be able to add a draft or to sculpt the edges and everything like that on that clip. Okay. Now, I don't want to be hung up on this project forever because I want to get into the VCarve project and all that. So we're going to take this. I'm going to take my line back here on my image, and I'm going to go back into here really quickly, and I'm going to make a copy of this vector. I'll keep that vector in there, but I want to copy that to a new layer, and this layer I'm going to call my clipping vector. Clipping vector. Okay. And then I'm going to turn that off and make that go away, but it's there if I need it, because on this one, I'm going to go back into node editing and I'm going to cut the vector on this edge, and I'm going to cut the vector on this edge. And I'm going to get rid of that lower line. And I'm going to take my line that I drew that has no necessary shape whatsoever. The only thing that is doing is it is getting rid of my model. Anything on the inside of this vector, it's getting rid of, right? And so I'm going to go into node editing. I'm going to pull this out a little bit. Pull this over. Just connect right there. I don't care what the shape looks like out here as long as I'm outside of my, you know, my model. I'm going to take this and pull this out. I'm going to bring this back down. Actually, right there. Connect that. And I'm going to rejoin those two vectors. And on that vector, I'm going to, there's a little bit of an overlap. Didn't quite hit my mark. right? So when I joined, it did not close it. And I'm going to go in here and I'm going to select, get out of node editing. I'm going to select, get out of node editing. I'm going to select my model and I'm going to select this vector, and I am going to use the remove everything outside or inside the selected vector tool, and I'm going to permanently delete because I do want to show you in the 3D view. I do want to show you here. In this area and all. I'm going to take this model over to the sculpting tool. And in the sculpting tool, I'm going to just kind of run right over here and just smooth out this edge, you know, on both Joseph and Mary. And I'm literally not going to spend a whole lot of time on it. I'm literally just going to run on the edge to get rid of that sharp point all the way around. Just, missed the whole back completely. All right, all of this stuff down here is not going to be seen. It's going to be hidden by the frame. Not important if it gets smoothed or not. Okay, so now I'm going to add a draft. And on this draft, a common term for a draft, like if I was making a model for, let's say, injection molding, like plastic injection molding, the draft creates a little angle so that when the part is created, it slips out of the mold, right? Or if you were doing concrete work and you create a draft so it comes out of the, you know, the forms and everything, you know, that kind of thing, a draft. Your stairs, you see a lot of that in there in concrete work. But I'm going to go with a 12-degree draft on this model, and that's going to take the sides here and just kind of them out. And finish them off at about a 12 degree. Okay, I didn't talk during the drafting procedure because, oh, my microphone stopped. Are we back? Testing 1, 2. Testing 1, 2. Testing 1, 2. Can y'all hear me? Yeah, we were cutting out. I was purposely cutting out on that one. Yes, the video stopped too. Yep. So let me get my thought out. When the drafting procedure happens, it freezes up the video and the audio. So that's why I wasn't talking much or moving much during the drafting process, because it freezes up it uses so much GPU and CPU and everything, it freezes up the stream. Okay, so just know, if I'm ever doing a draft, it's going to freeze up my video. It's going to freeze up my audio. All right, so all the drafting did, just stubbed my toe. All the drafting does is just adds a little, I did a 12-degree draft just to finish off those edges and everything. And that's it, right? So now one of the other advantages and all, I could do a zero plane, just like I have and everything, but I could also add in, my own model and everything to create a background in here, or the zero plane works just as well too, either one. But if I was doing my own model, I would draw I don't need this vector anymore. At this point, that can go away. I would draw a rectangle here. I would use the flat shape tool here, and to give this a height, I would merge that. Shape. On there, today is Friday. They are working on their service. So let me say that one more time. Another reason why my audio and video will freeze up, Cox, my internet service, they're doing some work, and we may experience outages throughout the evening, and so my internet's been a little goofy and all that wonderful stuff. So good to know. All right. Now I have, you should be able to see me and hear me a little bit clearer now. You weren't able to just a moment ago when I was drafting, and just a moment ago when I was trying to explain about Cox. But anyhow, so now I have a shape. I have an actual shape in here that I can, raise up or down and everything. And what I want to do is I just want to bring it up to where Mary and Joseph are just off of the, right here. So they're not so deep down and all that stuff. All right, now let's put everything back together. Meaning, let's turn the frame on. And now I'm going to turn this frame here so I can see the blanket right there. And on the frame, let me make sure that component I'm clicking on. Frame, I'm going to lower the base down to where it's just over that blanket. Right about there. Okay. And you can see where their garments are coming through right there. I'm going to take my vectors. I've got my frame vectors, if you remember. I'm going to turn those frame vectors back on for just a moment. I'm going to select this line right here and this model, and I'm going to tell it to remove anything outside of that line. And that excess. Let me see how. And of course, I did that on the wrong model. Let me select the right model and do that again. Remove everything outside of the selected vector. There we go. All right, and that's going to get rid of that garment exposure there. All right, cool. Okay. Sorry about those little chimes. That's my daughter's text message ringtone, so I know it's her. All right. So this is one of our models, and it's also going to be one of your models. I'm going to give this to you. It's a gift. You may use it. You may not. Who knows? But I'm going to export it out as an STL, and I'll make it available for y'all to download in the link and everything. But that is going to be our first little picture. Now, if I were carving this, it's very simple. On the toolpaths, I'm going to be using a 3D rough and a 3D finish toolpath. The 3D rough cut would probably, for me, I just use a 1/4 inch end mill, but you can use whatever size you want. It could be a larger one, it could be a smaller one, but for the rough cut, I'm going to use a 1/4 inch end mill, and I'm going to use the material as the boundary. This is going to take the whole material away, so we need to make sure that we have some type of clamping in effect, whether it be two-sided tape and CA glue, hot glue, vacuum clamping, whatever, right? We just can't have mechanical clamps on the material unless our material is actually larger than what we're cutting out. But I'm going to be using the material as the boundary for the rough cut. On the rough cut, I'm going to do a Z-level raster, a Z-level roughing strategy, not raster, roughing strategy. It is going to be a raster, back and forth like a printer, but it's going to be a Z level where it only removes the waste. I don't want to do a 3D cut. I don't want to do a 3D raster. I don't want to do a 3D carve with my end mill. I want to do a Z level raster. And so I'm going to calculate that tool path. And then we can preview that. And the question is could Joseph, Mary, and baby Jesus be set up at different levels and everything? They are at different levels, and everything. But this is one model. This is not 3 separate models. So if I had a model of Joseph, a model of Mary, and a model of baby Jesus in the manger, and I were blending them together to those 3 individual components to one, then yeah, I could change the dynamics of them and everything. But this is one component. It's one model based off of an image and everything. So while they are at their different levels and different heights and things like that and everything within here, they are still one component. So what happens to one happens to them all. Okay, so on our rough cut and everything, that's our rough carve. And then the final tool path on this, well, not the final, if I was doing a profile cut to cut it out, like if it was out of a bigger piece of wood, but we would have a finish cut. I'm going to use an 1/8 inch tapered ball nose along with a 16th inch tapered ball nose, 5.4 degree 16th inch tapered ball nose. Again, using the model as the boundary, no boundary offset on this one. It's going to go right to the edge, so 0 boundary offset. It's going to be a raster cut, and we'll calculate that. I'd monitor the task manager while doing the draft and other module creation to see which parts are under resourced. Sure. Yeah. And, this, what's crazy is this had dirt on it. This MXZ gaming computer that I just bought takes a lot to under-resource it, to clock it, higher than everything. So it's more so the resource of my internet and all that stuff. But what we would take a look. And at the maximum resolution, I mean, I'm maxing out everything, but yeah, I could take a look at the task manager, but that's a little bit too techy for this class, Brooks. All right, so it's completing the tool pathing for the rest machining right now, the smaller bit, and it's on its final pass with that. Here we go. Technology. Who do you? My daughter, the text message she just sent me said, we're watching Deal or No Deal, and the contestant's name is Jade Delaney, which are her name and my name put together. Her name is Jade. I'm Delaney. That's funny. All right. Work it out there, Vetric. Work it out. There we go. Okay. So now the 1/8 inch tapered ball nose would go in and, do a majority of the model. And then the 1/16 of an inch would go in and touch up the rest. The rest being the rest machining, the rest of the model that the 1/8 inch bit could not fit into, all the little nooks and crannies and all that wonderful jazz. And so this would be the tool pass. 3D rough and the 3D finish with the 2 bits. And the model always looks goofy from the side. But, and, when I made this model, a little bit too much smoothing effort. I could have backed that down. I like a little bit more detail and not so smooth on their skin and everything. And I actually have absolute control over that using Sculpt OK. And I got a little heavy-handed. I usually use a 15% smoothing on Sculpt OK. And I thought, well, let's go 25. And for my liking, it's a little bit too smooth in these areas. So before I release the models, I'll probably go back and recreate it and get a little bit more of the detail back in the knuckles and things like that, and not so smooth. It's a little too glossy, it's a little too glossed over. But this will be yours, and this is what it'll look like. These are the tool paths: 3D rough, 3D finish. If you were doing a profile cut to cut it out, you would just follow your outside rectangle, do a profile cut all the way through if you were cutting it out of a larger piece. So that's going to be number 1 for you, ladies and gentlemen. Now, we're going to move on. I'm going to hit save on this one. We're going to move on, but I do want to talk to you. I want to probe the audience to keep you awake and engaged for this next few minutes. Let's hit save here. How many of you, by a show of hands or an I do or yes or me or whatever, however you want to show it in the chat, how many of you run some type of small woodworking business where you sell your projects that you make? Whether it's a home-based business, a small shop, out of your garage, or you've got a brick and mortar. You go to craft fairs, you use Etsy, eBay, Marketplace, whatever, right? How many of you sell your products that you make? So let me see in the chat and everything. And while we're in the chat, let's answer another question. You ever do anything with Carbide Create Pro or Fusion 360? Blue Knight asks. Fusion 360, I am just starting to use and everything. I use Fusion 360 with my 3D printing. So I use Fusion 360 to create my 3D parts. Okay. Carbide Create, never, that's a proprietary software that's kind of, I think it's a proprietary software with, who is it? Is it Shipoko? Xcarve, one of those companies is Carbide Create, and so no, I wouldn't. I'd never worked in that one, but I do use Fusion 360 for my 3D printing and the things that I manufacture. All right, so we got a few I do's. All right, now the follow-up question to that is, how many of you find it difficult times? Let's say a one-off project, comes in, somebody says, hey, can you make this for me? Or can you make that for me? Or just the stuff that you make that you're putting up on the shelves. How many of you struggle with pricing your projects, and being consistent with your pricing, and price to be profitable, not emotional? What will people pay for my project? What will, what will not be too much, but, what will people pay and all that? Emotions have nothing to do with profitability and success. So how many of you know your margins, know your fixed costs, know your machine costs, and everything that goes into keeping your doors open, so that every project, the price, with every sale that you do, a portion of that sale goes towards your overhead and your fixed costs and everything, to keep your business open, and you price, in that strategy. Let me know how many of you know your pricing, and how many of you just guess your pricing. I'll just guess on this project and all that, and all. How many of you have a consistent, solid system, and all that wonderful jazz? Let me know in the chat. All right. Let's move on to the next one. New. I will make this model available for download for you folks. And also, I will be putting a link in the chat if you're interested in the Christmas project pack that I put out and it got discounted for $35. It helps buy me Christmas presents for the kids, but that'll be available. I'll make that link available as well too. But I use a spreadsheet. All right. Okay. Now, the reason why I asked those questions and everything is I'm going to put the link in the chat, but I'm also going to just pull it up. All right. So I have developed a software program that helps small shops, hobby shops, CNC woodworkers, or woodworkers in general price their projects, price with confidence and everything. And the link in the website, link to the site, price.builditTV.com, price.builditTV.com. That'll take you to this website so you can learn more about it. But there are lessons in here along with the pricing app, but there are lessons and guides on, understanding labor rates, knowing your fixed costs. Fixed costs are things that if you don't sell anything, if you sell nothing, if you make nothing, these bills come every month and you have to pay them every month to keep the doors open or keep the lights on or keep the air running or keep the whatever. Those bills never go away. They're always coming no matter if you sell anything or not. Those are your fixed costs, okay? Your rent or mortgage, property insurance, electric bill, cable bill, phone bill, any software, subscriptions and things like that. So understanding fixed costs for a home-based shop or a small business and everything, there are lessons in here that teach you about how to, price and how to find your fixed costs and how to, especially if you have a home-based business. I have a home-based business, and out of my, home utilities and home electric and home phone and cable and all that stuff, my business uses a percentage of that. It could be anywhere from 20 to 40%. You got to be realistic. My business uses about 40% of those expenses on, and that's what the business is responsible for. So 40% of my fixed costs and everything. Well, the software program, let me minimize this here. The software program allows you to enter in your company profile and your fixed cost. It allows you to enter in your machine cost, like your bandsaw, your drum sander, your table saw, your CNC and things. It allows you to enter in your raw material, like your sheet goods and plywoods and everything, and their costs. And then it allows you to create your products. And you can, on your products and everything, it will price your products. And when it prices your products and everything, it will tell you, like, for instance, my maple cutting board, the retail price is $73.30. My shipping is $11.75. The calculator calculated all this. And in order for me to, I like $1,000 a month profitability, and all my sales and stuff. And if this one maple board, cutting board, was the one product that I was selling, and everything, giving the total cost it takes to make it, $63.51 is what the raw cost is to make it. The contributing margin factor, my 25%, the contributing factor for every cutting board that I sell and everything, I would need to sell 144 units a month to break even, just to keep the doors open, or 246 units a month to reach my $1,000 profitability and everything. And the calculator, once I enter in my fixed cost, machine cost, and raw materials, when I create my products, it will automatically generate a real, not a guess. There's no spreadsheet involved here. This is a program. This is the calculation, are real calculations, real profitability. If you are guessing at your prices, you're getting by and everything, and someone comes in and you're inconsistent from one thing to another. If you're consistent in your pricing, then your customers will appreciate that better. They will pay for your time. They will pay, what needs to be paid, if your product is good. The consistency that they can get used to, instead of we'll do this, or we'll do that, or we'll do this, that's where, things start to waver. But if you're interested, check out that link that I put in the website. The software is a one-time download, and it is currently available, and it is this new black clean UI user interface I'm about to release in another day. It's version 1.2. 1.1 is out right now. It's got a white background, but this will lead into, this is just a pricing calculator, a very nice pricing calculator that figures out everything for you, makes everything easy. No more guessing. There's no emotion in profitability. You've got to make a living. You got to make your wage. If you think, I want to make $22 an hour, and that's your hourly rate, that's not your hourly rate. That's what you want to make. More like it with, the $14, an hour that needs to cover your fixed cost, the, $5 an hour that covers your machine cost, the this and that, all that together, your number's more like $44 an hour, right? And that $44 an hour pays your 22, but it also pays for all your sandpaper, router bits, drill bits, your machine wear and tear, all of that stuff, all your fixed costs. It pays your light bill, electric bill, cable bill, all of those things that you should be paying out of every sale, right? That calculator will help you. It's very easy, and it's going to lead into, pretty soon I'll be releasing the inventory management, the product management, addition and add-ons and all that stuff. Right now, this is just a pricing calculator, but it's going to grow into something amazing. It already is, and it helps a lot of people, and it could help you too. So links in the chat. All right, let's get started here. And I'm sorry about that little sales pitch, but it's an awesome product. If you're struggling with coming up with prices and everything, this will 100% help you. I've been working on this behind the scenes for a very, very long time, and it will help you tremendously if you struggle with pricing and knowing your costs and all. Okay, especially if you're a home-based business and all, and a small shop, or a woodworking business in general. It could be a big corporation too. You just get rid of the spreadsheets. Well, don't get rid of them, because you can export all your data out as an CSV into your spreadsheets if you want for backup and all that stuff as well too. Okay, let's start here on this one. We're going to make a fun, really quickly Christmas sign, and we're going to do some raised text. We're going to do some wood grain, faux wood grain, cool stuff, and I need some Christmas phrases in the chat. On the calculator, on the minor repairs, on that one-time download, there's no subscriptions or anything. On the minor fixes and all, they're lifetime minor fixes and repairs and all. On the major releases and everything, yeah, there's going to be, for the add-ons, it might be $24 or $40 for the inventory manager add-on, or for the tool manager add-on, which tracks the wear and tear on your tools with each run that you do on the CNC machine. So the tool manager add-on that's going to come next year sometime, the inventory add-on, the material manager, it might be $24 or something and all, but those are add-ons. Those are big add-ons. They're not built into the calculator. Those will be, there'll be charges for those. But as far as the calculator, your repairs or fixes or minor upgrades, those are free. And on the website, the pricing, it will guide you along, and I don't think I have prices on it, because those products aren't made yet. They're not created. They haven't come out of my tiny little brain just yet, right? So I got to develop and work on those. I worked on this. This took me a very long time to get this to the level that it's at. But take a look, and let's see what we have here. So in the pricing calculator, again, all the one-time download, all the updates, minor updates and everything, those are all free. Those are all free. But major add-ons, they're going to be a charge for. Just like if you buy the Vectric Easy Create add-on, or the cabinet calculator add-on, or the whatever add-on. Now, if you guys and girls are rotary axis users and all that stuff, I have a gadget that's coming out soon, the OmniControl Rotary Wizard, that calculates your proper speeds and feeds. It lets you know if you're overtaxing your motors and your machines limits and all on your rotary axis. It covers inverse time mode as regular time mode as well. It gives you a sample G code for testing your rotary axis before you actually carve. You can add in your custom models and everything. So that gadget's going to come out shortly too. Anyway, I'm just a little old inventor today. Here we go. All right, so for our sign, this one's actually going to be just a, we'll go a 4/4 board, 1 inch. And let's go 24 by 16, touching off on the machine bed, because the whole surface is going to get milled away for this one. Zeroing out on the machine bed, starting in the bottom left corner, we're going to click OK. Give me some Christmas sayings, ladies and gentlemen. Give me some Christmas quotes in the chat. And while you do that, I'm going to do my favorite thing that I like to do. I'm going to go online, and I'm going to type in Christmas. I like searching terms like country wood signs, Christmas wood signs, Easter wood signs, St. Patrick's Day wood signs, whatever. I like searching this, so I'll do Christmas wood signs. And I don't look at the signs, as what's available and for sale, because there's all kinds of cool stuff for sale on Etsy that I could buy in project files and all. And I mean, I look at the creativity that people have out there, how they combine their fonts. I love how they combine their fonts, like with the solid font versus the little frizzly Christmas font, you know, how we have the Merry cursive font with the Christmas kind of like, you know, bigger and smaller letters. I love seeing the creativity and how people are, you know, laying out signs and everything and getting that inspiration. I'm a creative guy, but I'm not like over imaginative where I could sit there and just imagine anything. And I love kind of looking at, you know, how people are taking different elements and things and making, you know, cool stuff, and, you know, how they're doing their fonts and their layout and their text and stuff like that. And one of the, what we're about to do, I was inspired by this sign. Let me scroll down to it for what we're about to do today. Right here. I love how the letters are like, this is just letters that are cut out, right? And they're glued to a backboard. I like the grain look of the backboard. They pop that, or not popped it, but they really enhance the grain with the stain. I like the letters being raised up, but the whole edge to edge is all milled away, right? It's or not milled away, but, you know, those letters, they're just sticking up there, right? There's no frame around it, none of that stuff. Like it, love it. That's what we're about to do. So something like that. And the reason, one of the other reasons I like Christmas wood signs is, you know, so I can see what some of the Christmas terms are. Merry Christmas. Have yourself a very Merry Christmas. Joy to the world. Let's see here. Merry and bright. Let's see. 'Twas the night before Christmas. Let's see. This house believes in the magic of Christmas. Believe in the magic of Christmas. I love that. We made a sign the other night. Believe in the magic of Christmas. A text on text sign. Amazing looking sign. And for those of you that that is not the sign right there. Where is the we did a believe in the Merry Christmas. But I like looking at the sayings, right? So in the chat, what do you have for sayings? Grandpa will spoil the grandkids this season. There you go. Bah humbug. That's a cool one. No hobby, only gifts. Oh wait, that's Mike. That's Mike. That's not a saying. That's Mike telling me what kind of pricing he does. What kind of sign he does. Let's see here. Keep V Christ in Christmas. That's a great one. If you don't believe, you don't receive. For the older kids who, there you go. Nice. Keep Christ in Christmas. All right. So there you go. Keep Christ in Christmas and all of that. So let's do it. Let's do it. All right. So here we go. We're going to do that one just as an example. All right. For the text, I'm going to use a variety of fonts. We're going to go ahead and let's do that. Keep. Where's my text at? Let's go over here. Ooh. Keep. Now I'm going to create different lines because I'm going to break those lines up so I can do different fonts. So keep Christ in Christmas. And for those of you, because there's a lot of different religions out there and everything, just bear with me, stick with me. And this might not be your religion or anything like that, or it might not be what you celebrate and all that wonderful stuff, but joy to the world, right? So stick with me. Just learn how to make the sign, right? Might not be your taste, but stick with it. Okay, so keep pressing. We're going to do that. All right, so I'm going to take, I'll keep, right click this and text, break that text into lines. I'm going to keep the word keep here. Christ, I'm going to change the font on that and make that bigger. We'll change the font. Let's go with, I'm going to use my Milk Store font here. I'm going to use my milk store font, not on the word Christ, but on Christmas. So let me do Christmas first. Christmas first. All right, so Christ is going to be, I'm going to use royal signage because he and his father are the King of Kings. Let's see here. Royal, OPQRSTUVWXYZ. All right. So on here, I'm going to take keep and I'm going to make it just a little bit bigger. Oh, accidentally spaced it. I'm going to keep that a little bit bigger and I'm going to bring that right about here. I'm going to take Christ, make that a little bit bigger, and I'm going to actually put keep right over here like that. I'm going to take those two items. Let me close this text. I'm going to take those two items and move them up and over. I'm going to take in, bring that right over here and make it just a little bit bigger. And then Christmas. Here. All right, I'm going to take a rectangle and I'm going to draw a rectangle here. And then I'm going to draw a, I'm not going to draw. I'm going to Control C, Control V, copy and paste. I'm going to hit the number 9 key twice. I'm going to hold down the Shift key and grab the end here and bring that in. And then I'm going to use my up arrow to move that up. Like that. I'm going to weld that together. All right, and then the word Christmas, I'm going to weld that together as well. I'm going to replace the original. I'm happy with the spelling and the font and all that wonderful stuff. And if I wanted to, I could go into node editing in node editing here. I could come in and drag this up. Drag this over. All right, so it's got a little bit of a lean to it. And then over here, I'm going to just take this and I'm going to take this. I'm going to get out of node editing. There we go. Thank you. Go back into node editing. I'm going to shorten this up just a little bit. All right, then we're going to take all of this, align it to the center. That's going to be the main part. Okay, so there's our design. All right, all right, all right. Now, the source of these fabulous fonts. Great question. I love the source of these fabulous fonts. The source of these fabulous fonts are called heritage type. And so the heritage type font company, let's go look at heritagetype.com, heritagetype.com. They have in their font, they have their font bundles and their variety of different fonts and everything. I have no affiliation with them whatsoever, but I love their font packages because they're currently on sale, 70% off for that vintage font, which includes that royal signage that I'm using for the word Christ, the black ladder that I use for the word keep, Black River that I use for the word keep, but it has other fonts and everything. It's on sale for $49. And then the Milk Store cursive font for Christmas comes from the Milk Store font collection, which is currently $39 for all of the variety of fonts and cool little, that's not the fonts, the little graphics and all the different, let me get to the fonts, get to it. Come on, you can get there. All the different types of fonts and everything. That's the Milk Store. I love the Milk Store fonts and everything. And then I love the royal signage. heritagetype.com. Great question. Thanks for asking. I love those guys. heritagetype.com. Phenomenal fonts. I love Heritage Type. And I have no affiliation with them whatsoever. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, here's our sign, the start of it now. Now, the next part of it is I'm going to import an image. I'm going to import an image, and this image is just went on Google, and it's wood grain, right? So on let's go into my quarantine folder. Quarantine folder is where I store everything until I get a chance to go through it. And all my models. Hey, y'all want to see Lainey in an ugly sweater? Look at that. That's me in an ugly sweater. What? Anyway. Anyway, let me find my wood grain. Let's import that image. It might be in my downloads. It is right there. Okay. Now, let's zoom into that. It's a little low quality, but watch and learn how we can take low quality and make something of it. We're going to go into the trace bitmap tool, and we're going to turn this into a black and white. We're going to turn the fading off, and we're going to slide this up to like 95. We're going to go into, on the corner fit, we're going to loosen this up. I love the default corner fit, but we're actually going to loosen this up. We're going to be a little looser here. We're going to go about 35 here on the grain. I like 35. Give me 35. Give me 30, 35. It doesn't matter. 35. The noise filter, we're going to turn this up to a 5 on the noise filter, and we're going to hit preview. And then we're going to, we can turn off the bitmap layer to get rid of it, or just get rid of it altogether. Any font that looks like a square, we're going to get rid of. But first things first, I'm going to ungroup this, and I'm going to check for open vectors. Select all open vectors. Okay, none. Good. Wonderful. Wonderful. All right, so we're going to select this. Now I'm going to scale this up. I'm going to hit G for group, and I'm going to center it on the material. And then I'm going to reduce just so I'm outside of the board here and everything. And I'm happy with that. I'm going to move it really quickly so you can see what I'm about to do. But on the text, on the design, let's get rid of the word keep there. On the design here, I'm going to offset the text by how deep I want the text to be cut and the angle of the V-bit that I'm going to be using. Give me just 1 second. Let me make sure that nobody is trying to get my attention for the video. I'm currently teaching a class. There are things that we need to go over, but I'll try to reach out to you tomorrow. Okay, so the offset is based on the angle of the V-bit that I'm using and how deep or how tall I want my letters. I'm going to do a 3/16 inch deep cut, and I'm using a 60-degree V-bit. So how do I figure out what my offset is based on that? I'm going to draw out the angle of my V-bit. And I'm going to draw out a line at the tip of the bit, or this V, and I missed the whole tip. So let's try that again. And what this represents is my V-bit, my 60-degree V-bit, literally sitting on top of the board. Okay. When the bit cuts into the wood based on the depth that I'm cutting, the offset distance from the tip of the bit to where the edge of the bit is meeting the top of the board when it's cutting in a certain depth, that horizontal offset distance, that number represents my letters, the side of the letters that are when they're coming down at an angle from the top of the letters down to the bottom of the flat area, that little 60-degree angle, that offset distance, that's the magic number that I'm searching for. And so if I take this line right here and I move it up, I'll make a relative move up my 0.1875. This now represents what my bit would be looking like cutting into the material. And if I measure a horizontal measurement from the tip to this intersection right here, that gives me a horizontal measurement of 0.1083. That's my offset distance. So the offset that I create needs to be taller, or not taller, wider than this 1083 at a very minimum at the 1083, but wider than that 1083, so that my bit that's going to be cutting the grain and everything in and all that stuff doesn't hit the side of my letters, right? So I need to be, when I create the offset, I need to be wider than 0.1083. And I'm going to use an offset of 0.11 just to be safe. But I don't care if this is a 90-degree V-bit or a 22-degree V-bit or a 120-degree V-bit. You can just draw the bit out, put a line at the tip, and move that line straight up however deep you want to cut, and you can measure that offset, okay, to get that number. All right, so I need to take all of this and offset it outward, and like I said, I'm going to go 0.11, 0.11. I don't need to create sharp corners. I'm going to offset outward from there. Okay, so that's my offset. Now I'm going to hit G for group. I'm going to group that together. Click on it first, then G for group. So that way I have that offset. We're going to use that right now. Now I'm going to select this and we're going to go align tool, center, and give me one moment, class. Give me one quick moment. YouTube Studio, my content, my videos, live. I want to share my link with someone. Making project for the holidays. Aw, it doesn't show my live link. Okay, that's okay. Never mind. I was going to text someone my live link that was asking. Okay, so here's our wood grain. I just stretched it out, right? Just stretched it out and everything. Now, really quickly, before I stretch it out, there's a couple of pieces I want to get rid of. These square pieces right here. So let me just do that really quickly because this sign's going to be something. We're going to ungroup this for just a second. And I'm going to scan here. And I'm going to get rid of these figure eights. All these square. If there's a square pixel in there, that's trash. It's got a square shape to it. It's trash. Trash. Get rid of it. If it's got shape to it, don't get rid of it. But if it's a square, that's trash. And if you turn your noise filter up more, I went with a 5. That'll help ignore some of that noise. All right, I think with a quick scan of the eyes have it. All right, good. All right, let's go ahead and let's do one other thing really quickly. Very important. Let's draw a rectangle right on the edge of the board. Okay, let's group this back together. Let's take this rectangle that I just drew and offset it outward, I don't know, 1/8 of an inch. We'll need that in just a minute as well, too. Let's take our group here and center it. This is the last little bit, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. All right, we're going to take our we're going to take our grain here, and it's covering all the edges. We're going to select it first. We're going to hold down the shift key, and we're going to select on the rectangle that's right at our edge right here. That's right at our edge. And we're going to use our trim tool, not the scissors, but the trim tool. And we're going to clear everything outside of that boundary that we selected, that rectangular boundary. We're going to clear all that away. Give it a moment. Question is, did I hit clear? I don't know if I hit clear yet. Let me hit save first. Christ in Christmas. All right, let's try that again. Let's hit clear. There we go. Hey, John Thompson, good to see you, buddy. All right, so we've got that cleared out. Now at this point, I'm actually going to get rid of that rectangular vector. It served its purpose. I don't want it in my design at this point. Now I'm going to come in here and I'm going to select all of this. I'm going to turn off the outside rectangle. I'm going to come in here, turn off the offset that I grouped together. I'm going to turn off my cross for a moment, and then my text. Keep Christ in. I'm going to turn that off for a second. The reason why I'm turning that off is I just want to be able to hit G for group to group that together. Don't have to, but I want to. All right, now I'm going to select that group right there and hold down the shift key. And I'm going to select my offset, that offset line. Okay, and then I'm going to come in here, and this time I'm going to trim clearing inside the boundary. That offset is the boundary. Clear that out. This is the roundabout edge, ladies and gentlemen. We're about to wrap it up here in about 3 to 5 minutes. 3 to 5 minutes. All right, so now that has cleared away all of that. And on my offset here, instead of deleting it, I'm just going to move it to a new layer. And I'm just going to call this my offset vectors. I'm going to turn off the visibility and the activity and turn that off. And there we go. There's my sign. I'm, hold on a minute. Hold on a minute. Christmas is missing. Control Z. When I selected Christmas, Control Z. Let me turn on the layer there. All right, somewhere along the line, Christmas, somewhere along the line, Christmas got deleted. Control Z. Let me find it real quick. Give me just a second. There it is. All right, let's try that one more time. I forgot to turn off. That's two separate. There's no connection there on that group, so I forgot to turn that off. All right, let's make sure that the inside of Christmas is turned off this time. Wonderful, wonderful. All right, now let's try that one more time. Let's collect that offset line, and there you go. It's grouped in with the offset, so I need to ungroup and turn that off. So give me a second to do that. U for ungroup. G for group on that one. It's my vectors right here. I got to ungroup. U for ungroup. Turn off Christmas. Even the little I right there. Even this guy right there. I had all kinds of stuff selected. Even him right there had all kinds of stuff selected that shouldn't have been selected on there. Gets a little crazy when there's... All right, we're good now. All right, G for group. Wonderful. Select the offset. Make sure that on my offsets, only the offset is selected. There we go. Let's go ahead and trim, clearing the inside one more time. Luckily, that was caught fairly early and didn't have to step back too many times. Hello, Rick Nolan. How are you doing, buddy? All right, wonderful. Now I'm going to take that offset. Now I'm going to move that to a new layer. And I'm going to call that my offset vectors. I'm going to turn that layer off. Now I'm good to go. Now I got everything I need. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. First things first, we're going to select the cross. We're going to select keep Christ in Christmas. Making sure that we get all the vectors. Making sure we get all the vectors. Okay. Now what I'm going to do really quickly is I'm going to group that all together because that all belongs together. G for group. That way I can see it. All right, we're going to select our outside boundary here as well, and we're going to go over and create a V-carve toolpath. On that V-carve toolpath, 0 start depth. Cutting down 0.1875 with a 60-degree V-bit. I'm also going to use a 1/4 inch end mill and an 1/8 inch end mill just to get into some of the little nooks and crannies. And this is going to be my V-carve text. Oh, come on. V-carve. Calculate. Oh, Lord. Lordy, 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 lordy. Calculate. I forgot to have the text selected. All right, we're going to preview this. All right. There is our raised text there. Wonderful. Now we're going to do another V-carve toolpath, this time on the grain. Going to turn off our text group. Going to turn off our border, and we're going to start at 3/16 of an inch down. And we're going to, I'll limit the cut. Do I want to limit the cut? No. We'll just start at 3/16, 0.1875, and calculate. We'll see if we get any warnings. Really quickly, I'm going to go over to the vector validator, and I've got 3 little things to clean up really quick. First is the 0 length spans. That means 2 nodes are on top of each other. There's no line, arc, or curve in between them. They're called 0 length spans. There's a button that you click that gets rid of those. Other than that, I have one little bitty tiny overlap, which is right here. That one little thing. And in this situation, I'm just going to go into node edit mode. Pull that out. And then call it a day. All right, let's go back and select this again. Turn off the border. Turn off the group text. Calculate. All right, I have open vectors. When I did my trimming, the vectors didn't close. That happened to me the other night. And those are important because they're open. So you're going to learn this. And this 5 minutes has just turned into another 8 more minutes. And it's going to be right around my letters and everything. So there's 24 of them. And one of them is right here. And right there, there's 2 of them. And they're all going to be right around this path, right straight across there. Without a doubt, they're right there. Okay. And so these guys right here, those are the ones causing me issues. So let me just highlight those really quickly. Right click, select the text or the vectors all open, and you'll see them right here. There's only a few, and we're going to just work our way right down and close them off. So I'm going to select this and go to the join tool, and we can see I can just click join and close that one. Same thing with that one. No fixing or anything required. Right click, select vectors all open. Here, now this one, these are actually open, and I can go ahead and close 5 of them by just hitting the join tool, but the rest, they are physically open. There's a line missing and everything. So I'm just going to use the tool. It's called join with a straight line. So I'm going to select these 2 vectors here, and I'm going to click join with a straight line, or I could join with a smooth curve, right? As long as the curve doesn't interfere with my design, right? So I'm just going to go join with a straight line, and I'm going to do that with each of these. This one here, I'll actually take and join with a straight line, but it's going to interfere right there. But I'll just quickly go into node editing, and I'm just going to pull that down like that. All right, over here, these two join with a straight line twice. I could do with a smooth curve if I didn't want a straight line, that's fine. Over here, now this one, I'm going to select these three. And it won't let me collect all three, so let's do these two first. Actually, that's a lie. Let's do those two first, join with a straight line. Then we can select the other one, join with a straight line. Okay, work our way across. This is just going to get deleted. Just join with a straight line. That one's already closed off down there. Now I'm going to right click on the screen one more time, select vectors all open. I've got one more or two more, right, or three more, sorry, three more. So select this, join with a straight line, those two, and that one. All right, one more time, right click, select vectors all open. I've got one more hiding. Now, when you can't see it, you just told the software to select it, so it is selected, so I can zoom into the selected object, right? And it's right there, okay? So it's that little line right there, and we can delete that out of there. All right, wonderful. Right-click, select all open vectors, no open vectors in the design. Now we can continue on with what we were trying to do, which was carve the grain, turn off our border, turn off our group, start at 3/16 of an inch. It rounds it up to 1.88. That's fine. It knows what's happening. Let's go ahead and calculate this. Preview the visible toolpath. All right. And there is my faux grain. And if I wanted the grain to be a tighter grain or something, I could find a different grain image by just typing in wood grain vector on Google. Wood grain vector board, wood grain vector panel, wood grain vector blah blah blah, whatever. And there's all kinds of different patterns. Wood grain vectored pattern, right? Vector, VECTOR. I could find all of those patterns and everything. And if I wanted the grain to be a little bit finer, now if I want the grain to be a little bit subtler, I could use a wider angle V-bit. But if I use a wider angle V-bit, I got to change my offset distance. Wider angle, further out, and stuff. And I don't want to run into the letters. Okay. The offset distance that we created and everything allows the bit to cut in, but it doesn't cut into the letters, right? So it cuts up to them, but not into them. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So there is our Keep Christ in Christmas sign based off of users' suggestions. And so we'll go File, Save As. Not Save As, it's already there. It's Christ in Christmas. Just File, Save. Save. And there's your sign. Okay. Now, for anyone interested, I'll make both of these available, and I'll put out a post in the community post on the channel and in the Spindle TV exclusive group for the exclusive members and the other chat groups, the Digital Woodcarver Owners Group and the Spindle TV Subscribers Group. I'll put out a notification with the link to the download to those two files so you can download them. All right. Hey, Craig, thank you very much for that. Craig, supported the Build It TV company by purchasing our dust brush. He received it, made a huge difference. I'm glad it's working well for you. And I'm glad it made it there in one piece. Thanks, Greg. I appreciate that and everything. All right, everybody. Hopefully you learned something from today in this 2 hours and 25 minutes of our time together. And I appreciate you. Remember, next Friday is going to be our last class until January 9th. We're going to end the year next Friday. And on the carving time estimate on this particular sign, based off of my current bit settings and everything of the bits that I chose, and the small machine that this is based off of the 2440, it's about 2 hours and 24 minutes of runtime. And if it were on the larger machine, give me a second. Give me one moment. About 2 hours and 15 minutes. And where the majority of that comes in is the pocketing out the 1/4 inch end mill on pocketing out all that text and all. And I could change the depth, past the depth to reduce that runtime down some too. But about 215. Now this is a 24 by 16 board, 1 inch thick, and of course you could change the thickness, whatever you want. So that's that. All right, everybody, listen really quickly. In our give me just a moment. Give me just a moment. Where are you at there? I do have a Christmas project pack available that has the Believe in the Magic of Christmas. That Believe in the Magic of Christmas sign looks like that. It's text on text. I've got a Merry Christmas, very similar, 100% similar to what we just did with the wood grain, but with the words Merry Christmas. I've got It's all fun and games till Santa checks the naughty list, and I'm definitely on it. I'm the naughty little elf for the little kids' rooms. All way in a manger, no crib for his bed. The little Lord Jesus laid down his sweet head. Merry Christmas without a frame. Merry Christmas with a frame. Santa welcome sign. These are big wreaths, about 24 by, I forget how tall it is. You can size it down to whatever size you want. Rudolph welcome sign, another Rudolph welcome sign. And there is a Rudolph model, a Santa model, and a Frosty the Snowman model and everything. Frosty's in there too. But $35 for all of those. There's some vectors. There's STL models for those 3D models. And there's some V-carve projects in there and everything. And if you are interested, it's an if. It's not a requirement. I'll get you the link right now. And then we'll say our goodbyes. Let's see here. Links. Christmas pack. Copy. On this link. Now listen. On this link right here. This is the Christmas project pack. Here's the, listen, in the chat. All capital letters. 'Tis the season. Well, that wasn't capital letters. Hold on a second. Let me do it in capital letters. 'Tis the season. Just like that. 'Tis the season. If you type that in, the coupon code, it takes off $135. And it's $35 for that whole pack and all those models and everything. So its regular price is $175. If you type in "'Tis the season," it's $35. $35 for all those projects. Now, you saw the link, price.builditTV.com, for that product pricing calculator. Think about that. If that's something that could be useful to you, buy it. And there's a coupon code for that one as well. Hold on a second and I'll give it to you. And if anybody bought it while we were chatting and all that stuff, I'll refund you the discount. But let me find out the discount code for that one. Give me a moment. It's right here. Technically, it's going to be the Black Friday discount code. And it takes $20 off. So it's Black Friday 20. All capital letters. Black Friday 20. That's for the pricing calculator. So if you go to purchase that, type that Black Friday 20 into the checkout and get $20 off. Now, silver and gold members that are exclusive members that are watching tonight on any of the product pricing catalog, you get $50 off for gold members, and silver members, you get $30 off of that package. $50 off for gold members, and you email me for your gold member coupon code. Silver members, you can email me as well too, laney.shaughnessy@spindletv.com for your coupon code as well. All right, everybody. Y'all have a wonderful evening. I want to thank you very much. Have a blessed holiday if you don't join me next week, next Friday and everything with your family. And we'll see you after Friday. We'll see you January 9th. Be safe out there. Have fun. May your homes be warm. May there be presents under your tree if you celebrate. And may your families be blessed. See ya.